What's up, YouTube? Today was Saturday, right? And today it just reminded me to just unwind and relax, right? And in my case, it was my tata's birthday, so I got to spend time with family, right? So coming from a college career and all that, I usually used to think about like the next practice day, the next game day, what happened on film, stuff like that, right? Your mind was constantly on something else, never in the present moment. So now with like my whole coaching career and all of that, I've been trying to really dive deep into the present moment, right? Like being where my feet are, being where I am right here, right? And today was a good reminder of that, right? Got to eat at Mario Cucina. If you don't know where that place is in Arizona, you're missing out. It's called New Garden, but we call it Mario Cucina for some reason, right? And, just looking around the whole table, it's a bunch of family and just laughs and, a bunch of, you can feel the love. So it was a good day, right? Like I said, with the whole new career, I've been trying to stay away from like, oh, what's happening on Monday? What's happening on next week, right? Just staying where I am because all I got was today, right? So now it's the end of the night. But, right, the whole reason I wanted to keep doing this and was because I had a great talk with one of my family members, right? And their kid plays in a club, right, for a certain sport, right? And he was talking. He was just telling me how it is, how the troubles that they're going through, right? And in the lines of like playing time and stuff like that, and involving other parents, involving other kids. And that's a hard time, right? Because the kids have like two options to be like, this isn't for me, or another option, which is a great option, which the option my cousin's taking is like, I'm going to keep working at it, I'm going to persevere, and I'm going to show obedience to the sport that I love, right? So really at that age, all that matters is all that matters and should be the focus is how much can you develop as a child, right? Building that foundation to whatever sport you want to play, right? Everyone thinks like, oh, this is my favorite sport as a young child, right? But that's not the case, right? You're just building foundations so that, like for me, it was baseball, it was soccer a little bit, it was mostly those two sports, and then that led me to play basketball, right? Like hand-eye coordination, everything came together, right? And so I was thinking, because at a young age, that those kids start to think about their self-worth, right? Do my parents still care about me? Am I not good enough, right? If I'm not playing good, my dad's not going to like me. If I'm not playing good, is my mom going to like me? Stuff like that. And that's because the certain players, certain parents are playing through their athletes, right? Through their children, right? And it should be the other way around. It shouldn't be about wins and losses, the championships you're winning as a little kid, the accolades you're winning, right? All that, right? I'm not saying it's bad, right? It's still good, right? None of that participation trophies, right? But on the other hand, it should be all about development. How can we develop these kids so that if they do or do not play sports in the future, it will translate to the classroom. It will translate to manners, to their adults, their elders, right? So all these aspects. And right, because you want to think like, how am I doing? I'm not a parent, right? So I don't know that part, but I was an athlete, right? And my dad did a great job, right? My dad was as a kid, we never had money to do trainers, we never had money to personal training, right? I played for a club, but I didn't enjoy it at all. Like I told my dad, I'm getting out of this club scene because it just wasn't for me. Like I never liked it, and I thought it was very money hungry. I thought it was very how do you say, like hierarchy, right? Like if I do so and so, then I'm going to get playing time. If I do this and this, I'm going to get playing time, when it should be about developing, right? Enjoying the game. And, if kids who stay in club too long, it starts to be opposite. It starts to be like, how much clout can I get? How much, right? I'm not saying that it's bad. It's just some kids are going to take it not lightly, right? So I knew to get out of it, but my dad was very good at it, right? About, if you want to play, you got to keep working hard. And so I enjoyed it because I had a park near my house and I would go there every day. Like I'd be there every day shooting, right? But my dad also, when I was a kid, we'd play tag, we'd play freeze tag. We were always outside at the park, right? And that built foundations, right? And I see all these Instagram coaches, these, the fake strength coaches, all of them being, right? Like, this is how you gain speed. This is how you gain strength. This is how you get better at your sport, right? The only way you get better at your sport is playing the sport. The only way you get faster is running, right? And so playing those little games like tag or freeze tag or, kickball at the church, because I was a church boy. So playing kickball at the church, right, it taught you different lessons, right, that I can take into the future, right? Because I was playing against older kids. I was playing tag with my dad, and it mimicked movements that I was going to do in any sport that I was going to take, right? For basketball, if my dad was about to tag me, I'm getting low to the ground, trying to juke him. All those came together and made who I am, right? So basically that's how I fell in love with basketball, because for basketball, I was always at the park. It was almost like a flow to it, right? Like, I got to be by myself, put my headphones on. My favorite thing was that it was a chain net. So it was a chain. Every time you switched it, and the chain would make a noise, and it was just a good sound to hear if I didn't have my headphones, right? But if I did, headphones in, and I'm just shooting, right? Grabbing my own rebound and stuff like that. So, and then the last thing, right, is when I'm done with my career, I didn't remember the points that I had, the shots that I made, what I could have done, what I couldn't have done. The only thing that I remember is the memories that I made and the people who I got to play with for each phase of my life, of my career, right? And that's the only thing. So when I was telling my family members about like their child, right, I'm like, don't dive into the other crowd, right? Like, the other crowd's gonna try to bring you in because that's how their parents brought them, right? And all that, it starts to fluctuate, and it just brings a team dynamic down. And most importantly, your son or your daughter is watching that. So I was just telling him, like, for me, I was always watching my dad, and my dad took it nice. Like, he told me, if you want to go play, you play, right? You work hard, and if they don't give you a shot, they don't give you a shot, right? But you should always work hard. Don't give them a reason not to, right? So, like, what I'm trying to get at is kids shouldn't be taking their sport seriously, right? Every kid should, but not as seriously as we try to make it. We make it very complicated. Do this and this, you'll play college. Why are we even thinking that? Like, go get a degree, right? Do other stuff. Have fun. Have hobbies. You could play multiple sports. You don't have to play one. I played one sport once I got to high school, but I knew that was the outcome. Like, I knew that's what I wanted to do, right? There's other kids that want to play multi-sport athletes, and that's good, right? That's good. Develop those kind of skills and just adapt, right? And then also, right, like, when I say when I say don't take your sport seriously, like, what do you mean by that, right? Like, you can take it serious, but like I said in the last journal, you gotta have some realness to it. I think I was talking about having a mentor, and you had to be connected to reality, right? You got to be connected to reality in this world, because, like, you have to be gifted, you have to do this, you have to do this. And what I was telling my family member is that the higher you get playing, the more serious it gets, right? So I got to be able to play in college, and that's when everyone's serious about their college career, right? You go to the gym early, you're not the only one going early, right? There's another teammate shooting shots up. There's someone else getting extra work in the gym, like at the weight room. People are working out in the off season. It's not just you, right? In middle school, you probably think you're the only one getting up at 6 a.m. running, 7 a.m. running, or sprinting, whatever it may be. But once you get to like college, and I never got higher than that, but that's when everything starts getting serious, and the playing field is almost the same. It's just now you're playing to a role. So that's what I learned when I got to college, right? Is all it is a role. How can I fulfill my role? Can you be a good teammate? Can you be disciplined? Can you be coachable? All those aspects, right? Coaches don't even care about your game at that point, right? They just care, like, how are you in the locker room? Can you bring us energy? Can you do this? Can you do that? Right? And all that brings from what you learned as a child, right? If you're not getting playing time as a child, you learn how to go through it, then you start getting playing time. That's going to set you far, far forward than someone who, hey, can my son have playing time? Hey, and then now you're just spoon feeding your kid, right? And he's never going to work hard at something. So that's kind of my take on it. And like I said, my dad was always good. He built a foundation for me and my siblings to always compete, but mostly to play the game the right way, right? Like, play the game the right way. Don't cheat it. Don't Don't take shortcuts. Work hard, but at the end, don't let the game consume you, right? Don't let the game, after a bad game, that's just a game, right? It's just a game, right? You let it consume you, then it's gonna dive into your relationships, it's gonna dive into your home life, then school, then it's gonna be bonkers, right? When in reality, you should just be enjoying, always trying to get better, always trying to get to the next step, right? So that's kind of my take on, I guess, early sports specialization. But yeah, what a great day it was. I think it was refreshing to talk to a family member like that, especially from his point of view, because like that's draining, right? Because I've been on the other side of it, where it's like you don't play, you work so hard and you don't see the floor, you don't see the field, right? And as a parent, that probably, like, I'm not a parent, like I said, but to see your child go through that, you're like, you want to help, but in reality, you just got to watch from a glass window and just give them the respect, right? And that's when it's respectful, right? Like, hey, I can see how hard you're working, but play to your role, play to your role. And that's basically what I was trying to get to, was like, don't let it consume you, right? That's what I had to learn, because now it's not all about basketball. It's about your mental health, your physical health, right? Because if you start diving into that, like, why isn't coach playing me? Why is this, right? Then you start creating this narrative in your head that's not going to go good, right? Even when the coach probably just loves you, probably just can't play you, right? Maybe you're like me, 5'8", I don't know, right? But just stuff like that, right? Don't dive into that boat of I don't even know how to explain it. Like, diving into the boat of your kid, just you're trying to let your kid play, he's not getting playing time, all that. Maybe just talk to your kid, right? Maybe tell him, hey, right? Like, I don't even know, right? But I was just telling him, don't go into that crowd. Let your kid develop. Let him be, right? That's going to teach him so many skills if he can just persevere through that, right? Like, if the coach isn't being fair, or other parents want the other players to play, like, just let it be, right? Because in the end, it's always going to work out, right? So don't let the game consume you. And I think that's it, right? What a great Saturday. Good night, and let's go.